Hello and welcome to the Addicts Normies podcast. I'm your host, Jamar. Today is episode 71, and we're going to be interviewing Joanne G. How are you doing, Joanne?
I'm great, thank you.
All right, glad to hear that. And let's dive right into this and get going. Tell us a little bit about growing up in your childhood.
Well, I always remember growing up, I just never felt like I fit in. I don't know, I never really felt good about myself. So it was kind of a struggle school. Like relationships, everything. Like I never, I mean, at now that I think back, that's kind of when the addictive behaviors began for me, I come from a good family. My parents, believe it or not, are still married. They sent us to Catholic school for 8 years. God, I hated it. Anyways, I think
Why'd
because
you
of
hate it?
that, because I didn't feel like I fit in. Like there's such a it's such a small atmosphere, for the kids, and I just never felt like I fit in any type of group. I remember being lonely and just not feeling good about myself.
Now that you're a little bit older, are you able to identify any reasons for feeling that way?
Yeah, a lot of it had to, like I said, a lot of it had to do with, the addict behaviors. I was already exhibiting, like the compulsiveness, the food issues, I was already like manifesting addictive behaviors. And and even now, like I don't feel comfortable around normies. Like all my friends are addicts, one way or another, they are addicts, right? They all struggle with a disease of addiction and they get me.
Yeah, it's a funny word, normies, but it's so
Right?
true. Unless you have an addiction issue, you just don't get it. The best thing anyone in my mind who has an addiction issue, if they're trying to understand, the best thing they can say is, I understand that I don't understand. Because
Exactly.
normal people don't get it.
They don't understand either how we think.
No.
Like I have friends, and I'll call them and I'll say, oh my God, this is what I'm obsessing over. And we'll laugh because they just obsessed over the same thing a couple of days ago,
Yep.
And like I said, nobody understands unless you actually have the disease of addiction. I don't know how to be normal in anything, unfortunately.
Well, then that's the next question. What exactly is normal? Is anybody normal, quote unquote? I mean,
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And I don't like to like look at people's character defects and all that, because I just need to worry about myself. Right. It's none of my business what other people do, but it's funny because I'll look at them and I'll be like, oh my God, they're drunk, or I can identify who they are and what they are, and because I pretty much been addicted to like probably almost everything in my life, So unless I work a program like working steps, really surrendering, I can become addicted to anything. And that's just who I am. And I accept that about myself, So I get it.
yeah. You said that you were displaying addictive behaviors pretty early. What kind of things did you do that were kind of an addictive behavior pattern?
Well, for one, I've always had an unhealthy relationship with food, right? And I would just eat, whatever I wanted, blah, blah, blah. Relationships, boys, oh my God, I was so unhealthy, I was so unhealthy. And the only way I was able to get past the unhealthy relationships was meeting my husband 27 years ago, and, he passed away, by the way. It's been a year, but he passed away. I was able to break that. Yeah, me too. I was able to break that, being obsessed, with them. Why won't they love me? I've even become addicted to like, oh God, rescuing people. There's just so many different things that you can do, so you don't have to focus on yourself and the character defects you need to work on. That's what I've learned.
What kind of unhealthy, what was your relationship to food? Like, how exactly did you abuse it?
Well, let's put it this way. Up until 5 years ago, has it been 5 years? Yeah, it's like in September, it'll be 5 years. I had weight loss surgery. It'll be 5 years in September. I was 309 pounds.
Wow, 400
Yeah,
pounds.
I tried everything to lose weight. And it's funny because I gained all the weight. I was always a little bit overweight, but I gained it all when I quit smoking cigarettes. I used to smoke like 2.5 to 3 packs a day. So I ended up like I quit probably 20 years ago smoking, 21 years ago, and I gained like 100 pounds like really quick, because the obsession, it's like, I don't know how to be like normal, basically, and the weight loss surgery was, I've lost it all. I'm a little chubby right now. I gained weight over the holidays. I need to take it off, but it'll be okay, it'll be okay. But yeah, I still like food. I still love food. I'm not gonna lie. You just can't eat as much with the weight loss surgery,
What do they do? One of those lap band things that makes you eat less? All right, having a little issue here with the internet. In a second here. All right, folks, just give us a moment here. All right, folks, just another moment or so. We'll restart this interview. Figure it's better to wait than to start a whole new video.
Sorry about that.
All right, we're back.
We're
All
back.
right, just paused it for a moment or so. So let's get back into it. And actually, for the next time, I just realized there might be a pause recording button. But where were we?
We're talking about like the different things about addiction, right? Like the different things I've done, and relationships and food, and
yeah. For me,
I
it
can get
started
addicted
early
to
with
anything, to be honest. Unless I work this program, I'm constantly having to like look at my behaviors,
Yes. Now that you mention it, I had an issue with food myself. I remember I would just eat an entire sleeve of Chips Ahoy, and it made me feel good. So why not eat
Right.
more? That was all there is to it. My parents were divorced. I was lonely. I missed mom, and
Right.
they made me feel better. That's why there's the term comfort food, because it makes you feel more comfortable.
Correct. And like I said, we're not normal. Like, I mean,
No.
I've even been a workaholic before. Like,
Yep.
I mean, there's so many different, I mean, honestly, until, like, I don't mean to jump around, but until I really surrendered to the program, I've really struggled. Like, I mean, I'll be hitting, God willing, in July, 6 years, right? But I can honestly say I really started working the program about a year, and like when my husband passed away, because I was super scared, because I was afraid I was going to relapse. And I knew that if I did, I had no one to bail me out, because he was a great, I could manipulate him to get money and everything else, So, I was really worried because of the way I was feeling, the loneliness. I was so scared, and I really, really surrendered to the program. And yeah. life is, life is, I miss him, but life is good,
So when was the first time you ever actually used a substance other than food or relationships, like a drug or alcohol?
Okay, so here's the thing. I haven't drank or partied since I was 19. Like I just didn't do it. And I would drink. I never crossed over to addiction for alcohol or drugs, basically. I just know who I am and I don't mess with it. I thought gambling was much more ladylike, ha ha. But yeah. But here's the interesting part, what a lot of people don't, where I live, there are no Gamblers Anonymous meetings, okay? The program, I don't know why it doesn't work. I've had meetings, I would go, I'd have one or two people come, I would go, I'd have to go a couple of months, nobody showed up, and I got discouraged. I just said, forget it. So what I ended up having to do is I attend Narcotics Anonymous, even though I've never been addicted to a substance. I just identify as an addict, and that's what's working for me, So all the meetings and all the recovery that I go through is through Narcotics Anonymous. And they know, and they accept me. All I do is just say I'm an addict, and that's it, because we're all the same, we think the same, so that's what's working for me.
So your main choice of addiction is gambling.
That's the only thing I've ever crossed over. I've been a workaholic and all those other issues, but absolutely. Oh yeah. I know I don't have another relapse in me. I'm afraid. Like I fear the disease so much because I know who I am, and I don't have that person like my husband to bail me out anymore, and that scares me.
When was the first time you ever gambled?
I want to say probably like 28 years ago. As soon as gambling became legal in California, with the state lottery commission, that's when I started with the scratchers. And what's interesting about me is I wasn't much of going to the casino. I can count how many times I've been to the casino. For me, it was the scratchers in the stores, the instant gratification. Because the nearest casino is maybe 45 minutes here. And I used to work so much and commute and being, workaholic, that I just never really got into the casino thing,
I know it was years ago, but do you remember the exact age you were when you started? Were you 14? Were you 20?
No, I was already like maybe in my 20s. Yeah, maybe in my 20s. Yeah, in my 20s. And of course, the first ticket I did, it was $1. I won $50.
So it gave you an automatic high.
Oh yeah, the escape.
So it's actually a way of escaping your emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Tell me about that. What does it make you feel?
When I'm gambling, it like I don't think I obsess over it. I don't think about anything else. I don't think about any of my problems. I don't think about, like my life. I remember, so the years, to put together what I have now, like 5 years and months, it took a lot, like so many fucking relapses. Like I would go a year, and then I would relapse, for a month and go broke, clean out our savings, right? And then my husband would be like, oh my God, he'd be so pissed. But we would, I would get back on the wagon. So I did this shit for years and years and years, right? I was like, I did it forever. I would, but the thing is with me, I always was honest about my gambling. I never said, oh my God, I'm not gambling. No, I would say, yeah, I fucked up. And what are you going to do about it? And now give me your money because I already spent mine. That's just how I was. And I'm not proud of that. And I had to really, in fact, right now I'm working steps on his death because of all the guilt and the sadness and everything, the regret, because all that shit, when you lose your spouse and it was so sudden, you really go through mentally, you go through a lot of shit, a lot of guilt. And for me, it's like my friends always laugh. They call him Saint Ernie, right? Because of the fact that I can't remember anything that he did that was negative. Like everything was, he was a saint. He put up with me, all these things. And it's just funny. So it was funny. I worked 1, 2, and 3 with my sponsor. And after I did 1, 2, and 3, I got a lot of relief. So I'm hoping I got to finish them. Like now I'm feeling good and all that stuff. I need to finish my steps, on this. And I've worked steps before. I've worked other steps before too, by the way. So
Yeah, I tell
Yeah,
people, take your time with the steps. It is
I
not,
know.
it's not a race.
Nope, it's not. And my sponsor is amazing. And that's another thing. I've never had a sponsor before, and now I do. It's hard because it's hard. Sometimes I feel like I finally feel like I fit in at NA, Narcotics Anonymous, because I have a meeting Monday. I have a meeting. I'm a secretary to a meeting on Monday. It's a book study. And I just didn't feel like I fit in. It's like I don't fit in, but I do fit in. Like now I do fit in. It took me a long time to feel that comfort. That's why I wish I could have gotten Gamblers Anonymous really, going good here, but I've tried so many times. I'm over it. I just got discouraged.
Did you ever try starting your own group?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Nobody came. They come for a couple meetings and then they quit. It's awful. I think the nearest meetings like in Santa Barbara, and I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to, keep there's just nothing local. I don't understand why these meetings can't make it. I don't get it here.
Yeah,
But
it's not easy getting. I know the feeling because I remember when I first started Addicts Anonymous for Zoom calls, get like one or two people. Then sometimes
yeah.
I'd sit there all by myself, but I stayed on the call just in case anyone showed up.
Yeah, and I did too. I would stay, but then after a while, it's like you get discouraged. I would be discouraged, and I'm like, I'm getting a resentment. I can't, I just can't. I'm not doing this anymore. So, like I said, if somehow people, would say, hey, let's do these meetings. I have a place to have the meetings. I sit on the board at the Alano Club. We own that building. I mean, the Alano Club is owned. It's a nonprofit. We rent out. We rent it out. For meetings, for just 12-step meetings. I mean, I have a space to have it. It's only $40 a month rent. I was even paying rent by myself. So I just kind of it just was discouraging. So I really did it because I got a resentment. But the one thing I will say though, and I always tell people when I read stuff, we don't have meetings, where I live. Then go to NA, go to AA, identify as you do what you have to do. And I'm honest, everybody knows at NA that I have a gambling issue. I'm addicted to gambling. They know this and they accept me. So, the biggest thing is it does work. It's working for me and it's been working for me. I'm grateful.
What age did you first seek help?
What age did I first know?
Yeah, like when did you first say to yourself, pardon my language, oh shit, I have a problem?
Probably I want to say I knew I had a problem. Probably maybe 20, 28, 20, no,
But
maybe
what age were
26.
you?
Oh,
What age were you?
I'm 55 right now. So maybe, I don't know, late 20s. I knew I had a problem. And how I knew is, first of all, my dad's an alcoholic. So I already knew that I had that addictive behaviors, right? And I remember I went to the casino one time and I actually spent my house payment. I had asked my parents for the money to make my house payment. I had never done that before, and I knew it was a problem. And my mom loaned it to me. And she told me, I'm gonna loan it to you, but don't ever ask me again. Because I was honest, Mom, I have a gambling problem. I was honest, and I did. I borrowed it and I started attending meetings. But again, I didn't understand recovery. I didn't understand, the living the spiritual, like the things that I needed to do to become spiritual. And the thing is, what I came to conclusions on, my past and the way I treated my husband, it was addictive behaviors. I wasn't surrendering to the program. It was, addict behaviors. Yes, I was abstinent from gambling, but I wasn't truly in recovery. And that's one thing I've had to really look at and own that, and it gave me comfort because I know I'm willing to do the work now, I don't ever want to be that person that I used to be. I'm proud of the person I'm becoming, I don't ever want to be that way anymore. So yeah, it's been a journey. I'm telling you, I would go, I tried everything. I tried church. I tried Celebrate Recovery. I mean, and I just Celebrate Recovery was nice as far as the steps, but I hated being preached. I don't want to hear it. I just wanted to have a group, steps, share and be done. But I don't know. It just, whatever works for people, I guess. I don't know. It's not my place to put other people down in their recovery, but
Yeah.
it didn't work for me.
One thing I find interesting is that you were so honest from the start, like just telling
Yep.
people. I mean,
Yep.
most addicts, we hide it.
Well, that's just how I am. And the thing is, I think that's why, honest to God, that's why I'm able to have the time that I have now, because of the honesty. I just never lied. I wasn't gonna lie. And it was funny because my husband would be so mad at me, like, yeah, I did spend it. Now give me your money. That's just how I was, and I'm not proud about that, but I also know that I'm not that person anymore, because I've done the work to figure out why I was that person. I don't know, man. It's just the honesty. That the thing is, this program is such an honest program. If you can't be honest with yourself, how the heck can you recover? You can't, because you're going to make excuses. You're going to justify, well, so, and I remember too, like, okay, so I'm 55 years old. Okay. Probably my gambling became really, really bad when my kids were teenagers, and when my two boys got into drugs pretty bad, and it just was, I didn't want to feel the feelings. I was worried, I was scared. I mean, all these things. And I would think to myself, and I would even tell them, if you guys weren't such little shits, I wouldn't gamble. I tried to blame that on them, and that wasn't right. It's just, I didn't want to deal with life on life's terms. There you go. I justified it. And that's the thing, and until you take a look at why you're doing, it's not anybody's fault why you're gambling. It's because you don't want to feel your shit. That's why. You don't want to feel like life is not easy. Like, let me give you an example. I used to think if I did everything right, like go to church, give a percentage of my money to the church, all these things, nothing bad was going to happen to me. And that's bullshit, because life happens. People and I even remember, like, so my husband passed away. He had a lung disease he had never had symptoms with. And in late December, he got sick, and he wasn't getting better. And they figured out, okay, that lung disease that he had been treatment for, and he had went to a specialist 2 times a year for, manifested, and it was too late. There was no ventilators. It just was a shit show. It was like he got sick, in 3 weeks he was dead. Okay. And he was in the hospital probably that whole time. And I was and I was mad at God. I'm like, God, how dare you take him? Like, I wasn't ready for him to go yet, like, why would you do that to me? I was angry with God. And it's like, dude, like, he was suffering. Like, I'm glad that he only suffered for a couple of weeks. That disease is horrible. And until I that's how selfish I was, and I look at that, and now I think back, yes, I miss him, but I'm so happy he's not suffering, because he would be miserable right now. So anyways, I just, like, I'm not trying to, like, take over on this, so please ask me questions.
No, this is what we do. We're talking about your life story, and that is part of it. So feel free to keep talking.
Yeah. So anyway, so for me, like I said, for me, like I really tried, like, I know they say, like, when you have loss, for me, the loss of him, like, in fact, I was, the book we're doing at my meeting on Monday nights is called Living Clean. Okay. And what it's about, like, not living that addictive life. And we were talking about what was your rock bottom. There you go. Rock bottom. My rock bottom was Ernie passing away, and me having so much fucking guilt because of the way I acted and treated him when I was in active addiction, as well as just being abstinent. And that's what keeps me doing what I'm doing now, because I don't want to feel this sadness. I don't want to have regret. Like, it's interesting. And even like, even like, as far as like work and everything, I've really, like, there's some things I need to work on. Like, I like to spend money. There's just shit I need to still work on. Like I could be saving more. I don't need to be, like, shopping even makes me feel different. It's interesting. Shopping even makes me feel a certain way. So I have to watch that, So, but at least now I can see the behaviors, I see them, recognize them, and I'm willing to do the work to change those behaviors, I just want to be happy, and have peace and serenity, like everybody else in life,
That's the ultimate goal. Everyone just wants to be happy and live their life.
Right.
They want to minimize however much pain they're going to feel in their lifetime.
Right.
So at what point was your actual what do you call it, recovery working for you? Was there a point where you had a few years, when you put it this way, when you first started, how long was your first stint, quote unquote, of sobriety?
Probably like a year.
Okay.
But again, all I was doing is just being abstinent. I wasn't working the program, just abstinent, and shit when like I felt bad about myself or whatever, and I gambled. I would do that all the time. It was funny because I would do it, I'd have this time, and then I would just relapse like nothing for maybe a month, and then I'd get back on the wagon. That went on for many, many years, many years. Yeah, so I don't know, man. But
So
go
you
ahead,
go
I'm
first.
sorry.
No, you go first.
I do understand the chronic backslider, the chronic relapser, though. I do understand. Sorry, let me remind me. I do understand the chronic relapser. I get it. I totally get it. But and they should keep going to meetings. They shouldn't give up. They should not give in, because the thing is, it would have been much worse my life if I would have not went to meetings, So yeah, you just don't want to give up, because the miracle will happen. You just gotta keep going, it'll click. It'll click.
So how was it once you first started working the steps? Did you embrace them at first, or were you kind of like,
No, I didn't want to, hell no. Like I didn't even know, because like, then what? I'm not perfect. It was, for me, like, it really helped me, these last steps. It really helped me realize why I acted a certain way. So that really gave me comfort, because I had so much guilt and sadness and regret when my husband passed away, so much. And working those steps showed me why I was behaving the way I behaved, and so it's given me a lot of relief, and it will give you a lot of relief. It'll give you relief, and it'll give you growth. And that's what you want,
Yeah.
like if you're struggling with something, work steps on it. It'll show you why. Old school people that are in recovery, they only, did one step, and they weren't working steps on their other character defects. And the young ones, they're the ones that are working, like the old timers are like, okay, I already worked steps one time. Well, the newer, the young ones, they're working steps all the time, on different behaviors. And I think it's cool, because they want to change, they want to change. And that's a big thing. So it really does work. It really works, because it shows you why. And then it shows you how to change, you can work through all that. Yeah.
So you said you are sober now 5 years, I believe.
Yep.
Tell us about sober time. What do you do with your time now that you're not gambling, to kill
Yeah,
time?
right. Clean. Yeah. I do like 2 to 3 meetings a week. Okay. I'm secretary one meeting on Mondays.
I'm just learning. What is the secretary of the meeting?
Okay, that means I facilitate the meeting. Like, I'm the one that, yeah, I facilitate the meeting. And then on the other two days, I'll attend a meeting here in town. If someone needs, like, newbies, they'll want a ride, I always end up trying to give them a ride and stuff. I have sponsees. I have 2 of them right now. So I talk to them, they call me. I have a boyfriend. He doesn't live here. He lives in Santa Maria, which is like, I don't know, half an hour or 40 minutes. I hang out with him on the weekends. I still have my house. He has his house. It's good. And here's the thing on the relationship, I'm way different than I used to be. Like, I'm actually nice and pleasant to be around, not bossy and bitchy like I used to be, because I'm willing to do the work and change, so that pretty much like, oh, and I have family, big family. So I try to do baseball games for the kids, and I have grandkids. I mean, I stay busy. Like, I work like every day, except for weekends, So yeah, I'm busy. Busy. But service work is important, like taking that time for people, sponsoring them, helping them get, see what they need to do. You can't boss them around, but you just listen to what they need help with or whatever,
I mean, I consider this service work, even though I
Yep,
enjoy doing this,
absolutely. What you're doing is service work. Absolutely.
because people are they're able to tell their story and just reach, as many people as possible.
Yep.
And I just want to give people a platform to speak and be heard.
Well, yeah, and plus maybe some of these stories going to resonate. I read something in that book, Living Clean, where it says, we all have different stories, but yet we're all the same. We suffer from the same disease. And that's the thing. We are all the same. It doesn't matter what you struggle with. Like, yes, there's different consequences for drugs, alcohol, gambling. There's different consequences for it, but it doesn't matter. The way it makes us feel, that's it. We don't want to feel that way. We don't want to be in active addiction any longer, And and I also sit on the board of directors for the Alano Club. We own it, and we rent it out. So I'm the treasurer, so I have to pay all the bills and do all kinds of stuff for it. That's another thing. But it's service work because we keep that club for people to have meetings out of,
Yeah.
12-step meetings. So it's important. Like it's a good thing, That's about it. Like, I'm fortunate. I only have to work 40 hours a week. My husband left me okay. I have like some retirement stuff from him, and I'm good. Like, he really took care of me. God bless me. So yeah, I mean,
That's great. They had someone that loved you so much.
right.
So my last question is, do you have, I mean, you've sprinkled in a lot of advice throughout this, but do you have any advice you would love to just say to people as far as how to get sober, and most of all, and also very importantly, how you could stay sober?
I think the biggest thing is what I do when I'm praying for people is I pray that God removes the obsession first, like the obsession to gamble, right? Pray for that obsession to be removed. And then find a meeting. It doesn't matter if there's no meetings in your area, you go to NA, you go to AA, you do whatever it takes to not. And if you have to go every day, when my husband first passed away, I was going like 5 days a week to meetings. That's how, like, almost every day, because I was so broken. I knew I ran to recovery. Instead of like avoiding it, I ran to recovery. So there's going to be different times in your life where you're going to need to have more meetings. You're going to have some loss. You go to more meetings. You press into your recovery. You don't and don't look at other people around you. You're there to help yourself. This is a selfish program. We have to think about ourselves. We have to. So for me, I don't look at other people. If they struggle or if they have some character defects, I don't look at them. I don't judge them. And the people that I do like have a relationship with, like that they have good recovery because they're focusing on themselves. They're not worried about everybody else around them. So I always say this, meeting makers make it. Get a sponsor. Find someone that you can be accountable to. Have a phone list. You make those calls before you gamble, no matter what. Don't be that person that just relapses and dies like gambling, or committing suicide or what. I mean, that shit it's depressing. Like, when you're in active addiction, it sucks. You don't have to live like that anymore. It's a choice, you can choose to recover and do it. And no matter what, even if the obsession hasn't been removed, it will be removed. You just have to keep going to meetings and keep hearing people's different stories and pray and ask your higher power to remove that obsession. And then once it's removed, you got to keep doing the work so that you don't fall back into it again. Because let me tell you, when you fall back into it, it's even worse. I remember one of the last times, like I said again, the last couple of times I went to the casino, I remember winning $2,500, right? And I remember my husband saying, come on, because he hated gambling. He's like, come on, pull that money out. No, I would tell him, no, I'm going to win more. I can make this, I'm an insurance agent. I can make this on one account. And what I do, I spent all my money and I took the rest of his, because gambling money is never enough. Remember this, gambling money is never enough, never enough. And you're screwed if you win and you're screwed if you lose, because there's no peace. So that's another thing that I have learned, in recovery. It's just never enough.
That's great. Finding peace, because there's no peace there.
There's not. There isn't. There really isn't. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the time I have. I'm grateful that, I don't have to live like that anymore. I'm grateful that I can lay my head at night and not feel guilty because I wasn't an asshole with somebody today, Sorry for my language.
That's okay.
Yeah. But anyways, all I can say is there's hope. There is hope. Just don't give up. Don't give in. And no matter what, just keep on showing up. That's all you can do.
That is great. And I think that's a great place to wrap it up. Did you have anything else you want to add?
No,
Awesome. You did a great interview today.
thank you. Thank you for
So,
letting me do that.
no problem, of course. And for everybody listening, if you liked what you saw and heard, go below and give us a like. Also subscribe so you'll be updated when we get new videos added. We usually do a few a week. Also, check us out on Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, and there's a few other platforms, TikTok as well. And biggest thing is go to our Facebook group, go to the events tab. You'll see that we do weekly, or I apologize, nightly Zoom meetings every night at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. The Zoom ID for everyone is 968-004-9132. And the password is compassion, all lowercase. So that's all I have for today. And until next time.